Welcome into the Ranch Sit Down. Today I've got a guest whose songwriting has been described as poetic and cinematic, a troubadour. Whether you're a longtime fan like me or just discovering him today, you're in for a real treat. Ladies and gentlemen, Drew Kennedy.
Well, hello there, Shane. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Sir.
Keeping it current, let's go back to 1909, when my great-grandmother came across the ocean from Ireland to settle in Philadelphia.
Wow.
I figured that kind of bravery was worth a song.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know. I never met her. I don't know if she would have liked this or not, but her name was Lizzie McConnell. Sean McConnell and I think we're probably related somewhere. And my joke is, of course, at 6'4", I got all the height and he got all the talent. So this is called Lizzie. Cobblestone streets and three-story row homes. You traded the green for a new set of old clothes. You were still kinda aimless when you got to town. But little by little, you figured it out. Don't like what you see when you look out your window. You take a drink, cleaning up the dishes in the sink. There's no point in wishing Lizzie think. What could you have done to make it different? A lazy parade of pigeons on pavement. Admire the way they make it look painless. So unwanted, unwelcome, but too dumb to know. Pride really sticks when you swallow it whole. You know it's a sin. You hoped you could save it. You take a drink, cleaning up the dishes in the sink. There's no point in wishing Lizzie think. What could you have done to make it different? Take a drink, cleaning up the dishes in the sink. There's no point in wishing Lizzie think. What could you have done to make it different? Cobblestone streets and three-story row homes. You can't turn around, you just gotta let go.
The great Drew Kennedy hanging out with us, man.
Thank you, sir.
It seems like it's been a long time since we've been in a studio like this together.
Yeah, I agree.
Like-
I mean, I remember the first time we were in a studio like this together in Stephenville 22 years ago.
I remember getting this little CD.
Yeah, you were the first person in Texas to play my music on the air.
Sorry.
You kept me in
Ruined
this.
your whole life.
The only apology necessary is probably to my mother.
Right.
I've certainly enjoyed it.
You've got new music.
Yes.
Tell us about this new album.
This is my 10th studio record.
Oh, wow.
My last record I made in a little adobe house in Marathon, Texas.
Mhm.
The locals will tell you it's pronounced Marathon, but come on.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
local pronunciation. But an old sea captain named it after Marathon, Greece. So it should probably be pronounced however the
He
Greek
probably
would have.
talked like Marathon.
Yeah, right. But I did it with one of my best friends in the world, Davis Nash, incredible songwriter, producer, and artist himself.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of a handshake deal. It's like, all right, I'll go with you to this house out in the middle of the desert to make a record if we make the next record in my studio in Los Angeles. So I sent him, maybe a year and a half ago, I sent him like 30 songs, 30 new songs, without any credits on them. I'd written some with other people, a couple I'd written on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, just narrow this down to like 10 or 15 so I can kind of hear what direction you're hearing for the record. And without knowing it, there were 6 songs in that batch that I had written on my own. And he chose all 6 of them when he cut it in half. And I said, man, that's
Really?
kind of interesting. You picked all of the 100%ers, as a songwriter
Yeah.
would call them. And he said, did I? He said, why don't you write a couple more? So I wrote a couple more, and he called me and he said, I've got this idea, and you're going to say no, but I don't want you to say no until tomorrow. And I was like, all right, what's the idea? He said, when did you start writing songs? I said, in 2000, when I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, and when is this record coming out? And I said, in 2025. And he said, I want to be the producer that takes a snapshot of the songwriter 25 years in. And I was like, what does that mean? And he was like, I think you should write every single song on your own for this record. And I said, after 10 years writing in Nashville and being an artist in Texas for 20 years, I finally can collaborate with the best songwriters on the planet.
Yeah.
And you're
You
telling
built
me
these relationships. Yeah.
You're telling me you think it's a good idea to not work with any of them? He's like, yeah, that's what I think we should do. So I said, all right. And I wrote probably another 15 songs, 20 songs, and kind of drove myself crazy doing it. It turns out
Yeah.
just having a collaborator, like just being able to look at you across the room and be like, is this a good idea?
Mhm.
Is that a good line? Or is this the worst thing I've ever come up with? And not having that immediate feedback really made me have to trust my gut, even when I wasn't sure if I was doing the right thing.
Right. Yeah.
And so went out to Los Angeles and made this record. It's 11 songs. And top to bottom, wrote every single word and every single note of it. And we put it together in the studio. And Davis plays a ton of instruments. And, so we build it all out. And
So
that's what we got.
You kind of have to learn how to trust yourself in this because you're going to question yourself
Yeah.
every step of the way. And then it's like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Like when I was so in my head about it that
Oh,
when I
yeah.
finally got out there, after we had kind of worked on the second song, I looked at him and I said, are these songs good? And he was like, man, we wouldn't be doing this if they weren't good.
Put my
And I was
name
like,
on this.
Yeah. I was like, I can't tell anymore. I don't know. But after the first couple came out, really, they far exceeded my expectations. I was like, all right, I think we're doing the right thing. So
God,
that's what we did.
that is incredible. So, like all the songs you had written with other people, you
They,
still have those somewhere?
They're still sitting around. That'll probably be for the next one.
Right.
We
got some for the next
Yeah,
record already.
just in case this record explodes, I can come right back with another one
Right.
pretty quick.
You can Zach Bryan it and have another album next week.
That's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Turnpike's putting out a record? Hold on, let me put it out on the record
Let me
myself.
put one out myself. Yeah. So it's been what, like 3 years, something like that, since the last album.
Yeah, the last one came out in 2022.
Okay.
So, yep, right about 3 years. I
So-
mean, we started working on this last summer. I started almost a year ago recording it. We started the beginning of June.
Was this the longest process because of doing it this different way of any of these other albums?
Yeah, usually, I mean, we kind of looked at it and thought, all right, we're going to take 2 weeks to make this record.
Mm-hmm.
And we split it up because I didn't want to be in Los Angeles for 2 straight weeks because my kids are
Right.
young and
Yeah.
I don't want to miss too much. So went out for a week and kind of got, half of them done, and then went out again for another week and got half of them done. But we really had a strong idea of who we wanted to mix and master the record, and then we had to bring in some other session players on it, and we could afford to take our time.
Yeah.
So waiting on the right players or the right engineers was something we could afford to do. If we had a hard deadline, we probably could have gotten it out, at the beginning of the fall of last year if we needed to. But we really wanted to take our time and wait for the right players.
Isn't that the cool thing about being independent? You
Yeah.
can do that. Make
Exactly
sure it's
right.
the way you want it.
Yeah.
Not a rush job. Like, you have to have it by now.
Yeah, I don't have any shareholders to satisfy.
Isn't that great?
You
Well,
know?
no, you said you have kids.
Well, that's true.
Right.
Very, very good point.
So how much has your life changed over the last 3 years in between albums?
I guess it's changed for the better. My kids are a little older. I've got one that's about to get out of 5th grade and one that's about to get out of 3rd grade.
Oh, man.
And so even in making the last one, my youngest, Oliver, was still kind of a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have opinions and they have, things that they like and don't like. They've become people, and I enjoy spending as much time with them as I can.
Fun to watch that happen,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's great.
It really is.
I feel like the Texas scene, I finally kind of found my core audience.
Mhm.
And I get to play a lot of listening rooms. I mean, when you and I first met, I was playing everywhere and anywhere that I
Right.
could. And now, after 20 years of doing it, I can pick and choose where I want to play. I put on 2 festivals every year, the Marathon Songwriters Festival.
It's pronounced marathon.
Marathon Songwriters
Yeah.
Festival, which is August 7th to the 9th this year. And then late in the end of January, me and Walt Wilkins and Susan
Mhm.
Gibson and Josh Greider and Kelly McWee will put on our 14th Red River Songwriters Festival. So I would say since Marathon came out, that record kind of helped just give me that extra bump up to the next level that I needed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been great. I do not miss playing 4-hour gigs, even though I love the White Elephant. I do not miss having to do that.
Yeah.
I love having the ability to tailor my show to just be a show and not try and kill 4 hours and fight against the crowd. And,
Right.
it's
Feel like your background noise
Yeah,
sometimes.
that's
yeah,
right.
Those early days.
And
yeah.
I mean, those are kind of the gigs that everybody's got to go through because it weeds out the people that don't want it enough.
Well, and that's how you find yourself as an artist too. Like,
Totally.
figure out who you are.
That's
Yeah.
when you realize no one's paying attention, you can just try and tell a new story in
Right.
front of the song just to see,
See
if
what
you can catch
happens.
anybody.
Absolutely.
It's like spring training, except spring training lasted 15 years for me. you know?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Your songs always feel like miniature movies,
Yeah.
kind of. Do you see scenes in your head when you're writing?
100%.
Do you really?
That's exactly the way it is. My goal as a songwriter is for you to see your own version of the movie that I'm seeing in my head when I'm writing the song.
Has anybody ever come up to you and got that scene right?
Yeah.
'Cause I know it seems like every time, like, oh man, that song you wrote about, and you're like, I had nothing to do with that.
That
Yeah.
is, I forget, I had a poetry class in college once, and the professor said, every great poet will accept any compliment or any ulterior meaning to their poem that a reader will come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you, if we're talking songs, when I'm writing it and I'm playing it, it's for me.
Right.
But as soon as I share it with people, it's not mine anymore. I think Willie Nelson said about Hank Williams Sr., the reason why he relived his heartache on stage every night is that he could never give his songs up to the audience.
Mhm.
He just relived that heartbreak in his chest every night he got on stage. And I think that there's wisdom in the fact that when you give music to other people, it's both of yours now. It's not
Yeah.
just yours, and it's not just theirs, but you share it.
You're sharing this
And so
moment.
whatever, I mean, the whole idea of art is to get a reaction out of someone. And if they can assign some sort of meaning to the song that fits their life that I had never even intended or thought of because I'm not them, that's the whole idea. I mean, I think songwriters and painters and people that make movies, I think all of us together are kind of the curators of the human experience, right?
Mhm. Absolutely.
In my case, you experience something or you watch someone go through something, You fit it into a rhyme scheme, you give it meter, you give it melody, and you turn it into a song, and then you give it back to the world,
Right.
or at least the 7 people that come to your show. And in doing that, maybe someone that hears it thinks, "Man, I have felt like that," and it makes me feel better knowing that someone else has felt like that too. And so life is confusing and weird for me and for you and for everybody. But the reason why I think we lean on our artists so much is that they at least make it make a little more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's an important job.
Music is therapeutic for you.
For you and for me and for everybody, I think. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I know you love music just as much as anybody could love music.
Yeah, probably
And-
too much.
Yeah,
but
whether you're listening to it or whether you're creating it, there's therapy on both ends of
Mhm.
it. It's just working it out, you know, as the songwriter, working through your thoughts and your emotions. And then when somebody else gets to hear it, maybe they go through the same process.
when you're writing a song, is it the emotion that you catch on first? Is it lyrics? Is
Yeah.
it melody?
It's usually a combination of all three.
Is it?
The emotion is the most important thing.
Mhm.
If I feel strongly enough about an idea, and I know that there's emotion in it, it makes me feel like other people will find that emotion. The last thing I want to do is to deliver a piece of music that just kind of lays on the table like a dead fish.
Right.
I want it to feel alive. I want you to be able to connect to it in a way that goes beyond just listening to it. Just think, you know, if you can think about it, if it somehow works its way into your soul because it means something to you,
Mhm.
that's the idea. So if you start with the emotion, that's the hardest part to find in a song. So you go from there and then you build around that. That's always
Wow.
the centerpiece.
That's interesting. So how do you know when a song is like finished and ready to share with the world?
I don't know.
Do
that,
you ever know, really?
I don't think you ever know.
Really?
I mean, I remember, and I think it was in Fort Worth at the Magnolia Motor Lounge 10 years ago. I remember being on stage and playing this song that I had played for 10 years. And I realized, number one, the second line in the second verse should be this. So I started singing that.
While you're in,
But,
the
yeah.
middle of the song?
Yeah, but
Wow.
also I was realizing in the moment that song wasn't even about what I thought it was about when I was writing it, because I was too close to the event in my life at the time. And it took 10 years for me to get distance from that event to realize that I was actually writing about a completely different thing than I thought I was in the moment.
How interesting.
That's why I've always felt like songs are gifts from the universe, and I think all songwriters collaborate with whatever it is that sends them the inspiration. And because of that, if the universe is your co-writer, it's never finished, because the universe could tap you on the shoulder one day and be like, "Hey, you know that song we wrote 10 years ago? This line should change."
By the way, you were wrong.
Yeah.
Let's fix this.
And
yeah.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah,
You know,
it absolutely is.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things about being a songwriter is that I don't think they're ever finished. They can be really, really close,
Mm-hmm.
but I would be too pompous to think that, oh yeah, I nailed that one
What
on the
I
first
said.
try.
Yeah.
There could, I could wake up tomorrow and there could be a song on this record where I think, man, that second verse was wrong. It should have been this. And I don't know if even that is correct. I mean, maybe to most people, the way it was written and recorded was the right
perfect.
way.
Yeah.
But I think that's the fun of it, is that they always change,
Golly.
There's no defects in them. It's not like you screw in a new light bulb and it doesn't turn on, and like, oh, that one got broke during shipping. With songs, like they're malleable. They can
Yeah.
always change.
Mhm.
Sometimes you play them a little faster or a little slower. The same goes for the words. Sometimes you feel really confident in everything, but every once in a while something will surprise you and change itself.
You're in your head a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time in there. I sure do.
So, like, if you couldn't perform or write music anymore, you obviously need some kind of artistic release. Is there
Yeah.
any other thing that you would do? Would you sculpt? Would you paint?
I
mean,
think I would
what did
write.
you-
I
Just-
not
you-
music, but I love writing. You know,
well, you've written a novel. Yeah.
yeah. We'll loosely call it a novel.
I'm gonna call it a
I
novel. It feels
appreciate
better.
that. It
Yeah.
does feel better.
Yeah.
I've been doing this podcast called Partly Truth, Partly Fiction.
I love that name.
Thank you. That comes from a Chris Christopherson song, The
Mhm.
Pilgrim, Chapter 33, that he wrote about songwriters. But if you've come to one of my shows, I love telling stories between songs. I love connecting songs or making people laugh before I play them a sad song.
Right.
But I love the space between songs because it gives you an opportunity to have a conversation with your audience. And so I kind of have a running gag at my shows where I'll say, I'll play. I know not everybody likes it when the artist talks for 5 minutes between a song, so I'll play this one for you if that's not your thing. I won't go on too long between songs. I'm just going to play it. Because I know you don't like it when I go, stretch it out like that.
Keep going.
Yeah,
because there's nothing worse than a guy that just keeps talking.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But people always come up to me after shows and like, the stories are what makes your concert special. Like, always tell those stories.
Yeah.
And that, that gave me the idea. A song is written, and like the reason why I love songwriting is that it's like the highest level word puzzle I think you can get into because there has to be rhyme. The chorus is going to repeat. If you're trying to if you're trying to compete commercially, they've got to be a certain length. There's all these rules that you put around your idea when you have it and think this could be a good song. Now let me put all these rules around it to see if I can still have a good song when I'm finished with this process. That can be so stifling as someone that enjoys the written word because of rhyme, because of your economy of language. But prose is something like I could spend 5 hours describing a tree if I wanted to.
Right.
Whereas in a song, I might have one line to describe the tree unless the song is explicitly about that tree. And so writing outside of songwriting has always been something I've enjoyed. So with this podcast, I've been kind of crafting this narrative of like this song that I just played, Lizzie, telling the story of coming from Ireland and getting to Philadelphia from my grandmother's perspective, my great-grandmother's perspective. I have no way of knowing how true any of it is.
Right.
But it's still, I think, an entertaining short story. And so I think if I couldn't write songs, I would definitely be doing something like that. I wish I would say like dentistry or something that would actually make me money, But if I couldn't do this, I would find another profession that would make me just as broke as this one.
Right, absolutely. So how do you, like, when your creative well runs dry, and every artist has that point, how do you find inspiration to spark that back up?
That's what co-writing is for.
Is it for you? Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a room to write with someone, a friend or someone that I'm just meeting for the first time, thinking like, I don't know if I have any good ideas today. And you walk in, they're like, I just had this idea on the way over. Problem solved.
Right.
If I don't have collaborators to lean on in that way, reading has always done it for me. I've been revisiting a bunch of the Larry McMurtry books, the 4 books around Lonesome Dove.
Yeah.
And I wrote down an idea for a song after reading one of the chapters in Dead Man's Walk last night. And I don't even know how to make it a song yet, but the fact that the idea stood out to me, and I thought, there's a song hidden in there somewhere, and I don't know where it is yet, but I'm going to write this down because I think I can come up with something, that from this inspiration.
Keep searching, and you're going to find that song. Yeah.
I think art. I think conversation with people. Tom T. Hall every 6 months used to leave Nashville and go on a walkabout.
Yeah.
And he would go for 2 weeks and just go into little cafes and bars and read local newspapers and eavesdrop on the people around him and write down ideas.
And you hear that
songs.
in his songs.
100%.
Absolutely.
And that's how he would fill up the well again, is to go out and be around people. And so if the collaboration isn't the thing, or if reading a book isn't the thing, just getting around people. People have this, when they find out you're a songwriter, they love to point out what songs are. And they're never right.
Right.
Like, they'd be like, what'd you do today? Like, well, I mowed the grass and I drove to Fort Worth. They're like, there's a song in that. And you're like, man, there's not a song in that. But then that guy will turn and say something to his buddy and be like, well, there's a song in that. So like, I don't think people quite get where songs come from.
Right.
But they're like, people are so inspiring.
Absolutely.
There's you don't have to have experienced this thing that you can write a song about, as long as you took good notes while someone else was going through it. And I just think people are endlessly fascinating. People say things all the time that they don't even realize are brilliant. It just kind of, it's off the top of their head. And if I'm there to catch it, I can catch it and use it. So it's kind of like I can crowdsource my ideas or what could be good ideas by just listening to people. or
Without
whatever.
having to give a co-write credit.
Indeed.
That is fantastic.
They'll never know. I have a friend once who was moving to the middle of nowhere in Arkansas for 2 years for his job, and I asked him how a city slicker from Dallas was going to survive in the middle of nowhere, Arkansas, and he shrugged his shoulders and he said, "I guess I'll just make peace with the peace and quiet." And I was like, how have I never heard anyone say that before?
Yeah.
And so I looked it up after he had gone, and I thought it was already a saying because this guy wasn't the most eloquent dude, one of my favorite people in the world, but not really known for his vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it, and I just thought, damn, that's a song right there. And so I wrote this song, and I ended up writing it with Jeff Hanna and Matresa Berg, and I put it on my marathon record, but the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band just recorded it for their farewell record that they have coming out.
What?
Yeah, so
What?
that's a cool thing. But
That is awesome.
when he came back from Arkansas, I played the song when he was in the audience without any introduction, just played it. And afterwards, I said, "Hey, man, what'd you think of your song?" And he said, "What do you mean, my song?"
He didn't remember the line.
He didn't remember saying it at all.
Wow.
I said, "You said this thing." He goes, "I don't know, man. It doesn't sound like me," which agreed. But he didn't even remember saying it. It's so funny. People will say remarkable things and have no idea they said it.
There's brilliance out there if you pay attention.
Everyone's brilliant.
That is incredible.
And they're just, if you have to condition yourself to be looking for it to find it.
And you've been doing that for 25 years
Absolutely.
now. I still remember getting that CD from that guy from Philadelphia thinking, holy cow, he has something to say and people need to hear this.
And I appreciate that.
How are your Phillies doing this year?
Well, they lost 2 or 3 to the
Drew
Cardinals.
is a huge Philadelphia Phillies fan.
Yeah, they dropped 1 of 2 games to the doubleheader yesterday and lost the 2 days before. But they're doing pretty good. I think they're 2.5 games behind the Mets right now.
Right.
The NL East is a tough one this year.
It is now.
It's going to be tough. So, but man, I love Phillies baseball.
I know you always have.
Uh-huh.
They're hard-nosed baseball.
That's it.
So you're going to do a show tonight at the Post.
Yes.
As we're talking here, do you have pre-show rituals that you do?
I don't have a ton of them, which is weird because when I played baseball in college, I was so superstitious.
Yeah.
I did all sorts of crazy things before games. And in shows, I don't really do a whole lot. I like to have at least 10 minutes before I go on stage by myself to just kind of collect myself. But I'm always seeing people, and I love talking to people and meeting people and seeing old friends, so I'm usually catching up with people almost right up until it's time to go.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't mind a shot of Jameson before I start. That's usually what
Clears
I go.
your throat,
yeah,
you're ready to go.
That's usually what I go to.
I like it.
I'm sure my doctor will be glad to hear that.
Right.
You know, it's funny. Like,
write that down.
You get around like real professional singers, and they always warm up and they do all these scales.
Yeah,
they're always doing that.
Yeah.
And I always look at them and they're like, "Do you warm up?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then you knock back a shot. I'm like, "All right, ready to go." So.
I don't want to name a name. I talked to an artist the other day, and his pre-show ritual was, the little coffee straws with the 2 holes? He sings through it.
Yep. There's it's really good for your vocal
crazy.
cords.
I'd never heard that before. It's got to sound like a kazoo.
It's like 5 years ago, I blew a blood vessel on one of my vocal cords, and I had to do total vocal rest for like 2 months. And one of the exercises to get back was doing that.
That little coffee straw.
Yeah, because it focuses your air through a little tiny space, but you're putting your vocal cords through a big workout. That person is smart. I was like shocked that I had hurt my vocal cords, and the doctor was like, "Are you a professionally trained singer?" And I was like, "No, sir."
I mean, I'm a singer, but
and he's like, what professional athlete do you know that's been doing it for 25 years or 20 years that has never been on the injured list for a couple weeks?"
Right.
Like none of them.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, you're a professional athlete but a singer, and you don't have the proper training. Every once in a while, this is going to happen."
Well, I take Jameson. Doesn't
Yeah,
that
yeah,
do it?
but-
I mean, come on.
What, do I have 2 now?
Right.
What's your prescription for this?
Works for Ed Sheeran,
Yeah,
whatever.
That's it.
So you built a career, Drew, on making connections more than trying to, chase charts.
Yeah.
What does, for an artist like you, making it look like?
This. I mean, I get to talk to you in the coolest radio station in Texas. I get to go to the Post tonight and play if it's not sold out, there's probably a couple tickets left. But
And it's a weeknight.
Yeah, it's a Thursday night.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Play an almost, if not totally sold out, great listening room run by people who truly care about songwriters.
Absolutely. Brooks is amazing.
I get to put out a record at midnight tonight of all songs that I wrote by myself. People will listen to it. I get to put on 2 festivals. I go to Nashville twice a month to co-write with the greatest songwriters in the world. And I get to hear, I've seen Nate Smith sing one of my songs in front of 10,000 people, and you're like, I will never do that as an artist.
What a cool feeling.
Yeah, but he's singing I wrote all of those words, and he's singing it, and 10,000 people are singing it back to him.
That's crazy.
And I get to stand in the back of the arena and listen to it. That's making it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely
wouldn't
it
mind
is.
being the person on stage in front of 10,000 people, but I haven't chased that.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
chased-
You've built something honestly more beautiful. You really have.
Well,
and
thank
we
you.
were talking before we came on here, like there's longevity in what you're doing, and your name is going to live on forever as one of these amazing songwriters in Texas.
Well, thank you. That's
Even though we stole you from another state, but we're going to claim you.
Well,
That's what
hey,
we
man.
do in Texas.
Dude, I mean, most everybody got here from somewhere else, right?
That's very true.
That's how it works. But I truly appreciate that, Shane. I've realized early on when I looked around and everybody that was my age was trying to throw the biggest party they could.
Yeah.
Have a big, loud band.
Yeah.
I realized that there were other people that weren't getting serviced as far as like their music preferences go.
Yeah.
Right?
Honestly,
And,
me. Yeah.
and I thought, well, not only can I play to smaller crowds of people that might be looking for more than to hook up and get drunk at a show, but I can write music that will age with these people. Like if I'm trying to throw a party when I'm 27, by the time I'm 47 and I go to some college town still trying to throw the party, it's got to feel a little weird.
It's
right?
It's
Like,
kind of creepy.
Luke Bryan
Like,
loves
they brought Dad in here.
Yeah, right. Luke Bryan's last single like 2 years ago was about spring break.
Yeah.
And if the dude had had a kid when he was 23, that kid would be at spring break.
Right.
Like it's kind of weird. Like why not sing age appropriate material
Right, yeah.
and try to like you're not going to spring break anymore. What are you doing now? You and the people around you are having families. You're probably more thoughtful because you've experienced more things in the world.
Yep.
So I want to write music that ages with the people that care about my music.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
it's like you have 2 choices, I think, as an artist. You can try to cast the widest net possible and get as many people as you can, or cast a specific net in a specific area and try to get that. And I felt like I could control my career more if I knew what my target is, rather than if my target was, I don't know, man, everybody. Like that. You don't to write a ubiquitously loved song is one of the hardest things to do. And when you
Absolutely.
unpack some of those songs, they're completely simple.
Yeah.
Their lyrics without all of the production might bore the pants off of you.
Mm-hmm.
But for that summer, everybody in the world sang that song. And that's incredible. But there's only 1 or 2 of those songs every year.
Yeah.
And shooting for
And
that.
next summer, we forgot about that song.
Right.
We
and
absolutely
shooting
have.
for that just seems like, what are your chances? Well, my chances doing this are still slim, but at least I can control it more than I can just trying to throw it out there for the whole universe to maybe
buckshot everything. Yeah,
exactly
absolutely.
right. So that I made that decision pretty early on and just kind of stuck with it, and I'm glad that I have. Like I know
I am too.
so many. Thank you.
'Cause
I know
you
so
doing
many people.
Beers on the tailgate songs, it would feel wrong.
Yeah,
it really would.
Agreed.
You'll drink a beer on the tailgate.
That's
we don't
exactly
have to sing about
right.
it.
Exactly right. There's 100 other dudes doing that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember this couple getting engaged at one of my shows in College Station, like 15 years ago. And I just saw them at a show last month, and I met their 3 kids. And
wow.
and so I've known those people, their whole relationship.
Yep.
And the dude said, like, man, 2 of these songs off your last record, it felt like you were singing about my life. And I was like, I was, because I'm in the same stage of life that you are. And so that's when somebody says something like that to me, that's when I know I'm getting it right.
Building connections. That's what you're doing.
That's
it.
Amazing.
You
Yeah, too bad I don't sell like knives or something on the side.
Right. You want to do one more song for us?
You got it. I could have.
That's fantastic.
I could have. You seem like a hardworking individual. Why don't you join my pyramid scheme?
Right.
I could have had.
Would you like to lose weight with a drink?
That's it. I could have done that at the merch table. This is another one off of the new record. Once we decided that this was going to be a record where I wrote all the songs, to find inspiration, I looked back at moments in my life when I was younger, when I was not yet a songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess I was always a songwriter, but I didn't know it yet.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I landed on was that nervous feeling when you're 16 and you finally got your driver's license and you're like going to pick up a girl on a date and it's like the first time you can do it.
Cool.
That
gave me a hit in my stomach just thinking about
I know.
that, remembering that.
And I remember like pulling up to my girlfriend's house and like getting out of the car, and they had a big light over their front porch and it cast this like kind of half halo on the ground. And I thought, all right, I'm just going to stand out here for just a minute before they can see me and catch my breath. And like, I remember counting to 10 before I went up and rang the doorbell. And so it felt a little weird for a guy in his mid-40s to be singing about being 16, but also it felt like the right thing to do. So that's what I did. This is called Halo. I've been standing just outside the halo of her front porch light for what feels like 15 minutes now to pick her up and take her out. What if I screw it up? Laugh too loud or talk too much? What if a guy in a pickup truck really ain't her speed? What if I spill a drink on everything but the kitchen sink? What will all my buddies think? They'll cut me to pieces. I've been standing just outside the halo of her front porch light for what feels like 15 minutes now to pick her up and take her out. But what if the what ifs don't? Why not if the why nots won't? There ain't no fire, there ain't no smoke, man, just ring the bell. Hell, I've been standing just outside the halo of her front porch light for what feels like 15 minutes now to pick her up and take her out. Nice and tall, here we go. It's just 60 watts of amber glow. Oh, I've been standing just outside the halo of her front porch light for what feels like 15 minutes now to pick her up and take her out, to pick her up and take her out.
Drew Kennedy, thank you so much, man.
Thanks for having me, Shane.
It has been a pleasure getting to chat with you again.
You're the best, man.
Can't wait to listen to the full album. Very excited about it. Comes out tonight, midnight?
Yep, that's right.
Oh, big time.
Big time.
Big time. Letting your baby out into the world.
That's it.
And you have nobody else to blame because you wrote all the songs yourself.
No one understands why it's so nerve-wracking
Right.
to put out a record, and it is exactly what you just said
Absolutely.
right there. Every time, especially with this one, but
Right.
every time, everyone's like, you already did it. What are you nervous about? I'm like, now everyone gets to judge me.
Right, yeah. Now the judging begins and the critics
that's
who know so much about
nerve-wracking.
music. Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, brother.